And I said, hey, everybody wants to show their journey on social media, as the best parts, but I'm gonna open up and show you where I am today.
Yeah.
In no sense was it seamless. In no sense was it easy. Like every role felt like I was scratching, clawing to try to get there, and it was not. And if I made it seem that way, I don't want it to seem that way. It was not. It was very hard.
What does it really mean to define the undefined? In life and in creativity, we hit seasons where things feel ambiguous. Not quite the old chapter, not yet the new one. How do you build clarity, purpose, and momentum when the path forward isn't obvious? Today, I'm excited to introduce you to CJ Simmons, a creative strategist and sports marketing veteran whose career spans all 6 major sports leagues. Now entering a new chapter, CJ is exploring what it means to define the undefined in life, so much that he could write a book on it. And he is. Let's go behind the creative with CJ Simmons.
Let's take a look behind the creative.
Thanks, CJ, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, CJ, I always introduce everyone here, but I would love to hear from you. Who is CJ Simmons?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's something that I've been thinking through a lot this week personally, even when you called me the other day, just figuring out identity, right? Mm-hmm. Like as we continue and talking about what we're going to talk about, I think knowing who you are is really important. And so who I am, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I'm someone that cares about people in my life, my family, my friends. I'm a marathoner. I'm a Morehouse man. I think those are some of the things that encompass who I am. So, yeah.
I love that. And definitely you have many titles, but you've also had a great background and career and background. When I say portfolio, resume, you've worked across all 6 U.S. major sports leagues, the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, the MLS, WNBA in marketing and sponsorships. And you've done that for years, but you started with NASA. Crazy. How did you come to doing sports from a NASA background?
Yeah, when I went to Morehouse, I didn't know what I really wanted to do, and I've just been good at math just my entire life, and so that's just a path that I took. NASA gave me a scholarship to go to Morehouse, and so I worked at different NASA facilities in school, and then following school, I just took on a number of different jobs, just trying to find my way and trying to find my own path, and I got to a point of a shift where I really wanted to see and explore what I was good at and what I was actually interested in. I worked a few different jobs that didn't pan out so well, and they were also jobs that I really wasn't interested in as well. So I wanted to change my career and shift, and I had to go into this incubation season, as I say, where I had to look internally to figure out what it is that I enjoyed. And so I'm waking up in the morning watching SportsCenter, or it's on the weekends and watching football or whatever, and it's like I really love sports. I have these things in my background. How could I work in sports? And then trying to figure that out, and then going to grad school and taking that as far as I took it.
Yeah. So it sounds like there were some parts of you that anchored you in your career and some parts that you released. What were some of those things that you released in your career?
I released a lot of, I guess, roles that I wasn't clear about and things that I didn't really want to do. I think I needed better defining or definition on what it is that I actually was interested in and where I wanted to grow. Out of school, I just took jobs because I needed to have a job. And so I had great roles, but they weren't anything that I felt pushed me into the path that I really felt interested in and felt passionate about. Yeah. I'm always a person that is interested in doing things that I feel passionate about and I really enjoy. And sports was one of those things that I felt it as a someone that's a fan, but then trying to figure out, is this something that I can do?
Yeah.
Bring in my fandom to actually work on the business side of things as well. And so I left behind doing the things that, I mean, the roles also had challenges and such. I didn't do everything I wanted to do, but like the overarching direction that I was going was something that I wanted to do. And so that's what I kind of left behind, those things of not having direction, not having the definition on what I wanted, what I felt passionate in, and charting my own course on that love for sports.
Yeah. And if we're talking sports metaphors, you know, like if the applause is quiet, right? And if we're not talking like scoreboards, if we're not talking like, you know, what you see on a paper, if we're not talking about titles or what's on the leaderboard, you know, without all of those things, who would you say, you know, in your career you have seen yourself to be, like without all of the titles?
A leader, someone that, you know, I've led different nonprofit organizations, one being Black Sports Professionals. I've done it not only in the DC, in DC, but also in Atlanta, the Atlanta chapter. So being a leader and taking on leadership roles was something that I've done. I think bringing people together as well. Like that's something that I'm just good at doing. And so not only leading people and trying to figure out what we should go as a chapter, but like, how can I bring people together to hear their stories, hear the things difficulties that they're facing while they're navigating their careers in sports? And how could we, as a group together, help uplift one another, but also, you know, move forward as a group? So those are two things, especially leadership and bringing people together, is what I really try to do, just in sports and outside of the actual office of sports as well.
Yeah. And I ask that because, you know, life isn't always linear, right? And
for sure.
Someone asked me that question a couple of years ago because, you know, if you look at me and my career on paper, a lot of people always ask me, like, how are you creative? Like, how have you found yourself in a creative career or in a creative place? And why is that important to you? Because I can't tell, right? Or maybe I can see it now, but it hasn't always been clear through the choices that I've made in my career, right? And I think that when you really allow your life to do what it is going to do, it is always going to find its way to reroute you or to detour you to the places that it needs to in order to ground you into truly where it needs you to be. I always tell people, like, it's truly not really about titles. Your career is really a reflection of your life path.
Indeed.
Right. And so without those titles and without, you know, these companies and things that, you know, we find ourselves in, it's really about the work. It's really about the competencies that we have in every place that we end up in, you know. And when we talk about defining the undefined, you know, what does that mean for you in this season?
I think I'm in a similar shift as I was when I went into sports, of figuring out what is it that I enjoy now, what is it that I'm good at, and defining it and figuring out how to move through this season. Because a lot of times we get to places or we have these titles, as you mentioned, and they become attached to us. And those things can be removed. Sometimes fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, right? And when it happens, unfortunately, sometimes for people, you then are in a season of not knowing who you are.
Yeah.
So just like how we started, of like, I sometimes go through this on who am I?
Yeah.
You know, I got all the things that I mentioned, they didn't deal with anything of my titles or, you know, those are things that I've accomplished throughout, or things that just were natural to me because of my birth or, you know, helping someone else give birth, my wife, right? And so all of those things are intrinsic to me. And so who I am now and what does it mean to me to define the undefined is having something to help you stay grounded in the uncomfortable seasons, in the uncertain seasons. When you have that level of being grounded will help you move through it, because those seasons can be very difficult to manage.
Yeah. Have you found that there's been something in this season that you've been reluctant to say out loud? And if you were to say it out loud, do you feel like that would change something?
Reluctant to say out loud. No, I think I've said all of it out loud, whether true or not true. Right? Like sometimes the feeling of this feels like, man, I'm a failure because I'm not where I want to be. Right? I've said that out loud. But sometimes even in using certain things or saying certain things, you are now shaping where you want to go. You're not letting the circumstances shape it for you.
Yeah.
And so while difficult or while challenging, me saying at times that I'm a failure, while not true, like you can use certain situations and, feeling grounded, at points you have to really look at the big picture, right? What have you accomplished in your life? What have I accomplished in my life? Yeah. Do you have people that love you? Do you have people that care about you? Do you have other people looking at your life, wishing that your life was the same? Yeah. Right. And so I've said certain things, but those things don't necessarily mean that it's true. And so how do you define it truthfully? You want to get the things off of your chest for sure, but like, let's define it truthfully. Yeah. Let's look at it. And this is how I'm feeling. You could feel like you're a failure at this moment, or maybe you failed in this task or whatever, but that doesn't mean you're a complete failure. Right. Okay. Now we've used that and we're moving on. Now you're defining it as, I wish I was somewhere else that I wanted to be, further along in the path, or further along as far as, whether accolades, finances, or, items, right? The biggest house on the block or whatever it is, right? When you look at those things, are you technically behind? Who are you looking at? What are you doing in those seasons? And sometimes it takes that shift. It takes those things happening to you to really get to a point of maybe being appreciative of certain things. Sometimes you might not have all the money that you thought you wanted or would have, but do you have love in your home? Do you have love with your friends and family? Or do you even have a home? Like there are people that don't. There are people in worse situations than you. And so like, let's define things accurately, but don't be afraid to put them out there, because when you put them out there, you're now taking ownership of your situation, instead of it taking that ownership of you and putting you in a sense of silence. Yeah. And that in those areas of silence, those are not places of strength. Those are areas of weakness, and you're holding a lot of those things in. Release them, whether through words or writing it down, to help shape the season that you're in.
I love that. And you said something so key. You still in a season where a lot of people, I don't know, it's something about this year, right? This is a cataclysmic year for a lot of people.
For sure.
And I told you this earlier this year, so many people I've talked to have been going through some type of season of transformation or some type of shift in their lives this year. Something is happening in the year, right? And so something so key is, even in a season where there's ambiguity, or some type of unclarity, you still get a chance and opportunity to define it and what that's going to mean for you. And so in a period of uncertainty, you still get to define a version of certainty. And I'm curious for you, CJ, how have you, or if you have, used this season of uncertainty to fuel your creativity or to fuel some sense of your next step, instead of allowing it to paralyze you?
Yeah, it's fueled me because a few things. One, I've been able to look at me going through a season similar to this, as I mentioned, my transition into sports. During that time, I was really figuring out, I didn't really know many people that worked in sports. I just kind of had to figure it out, and I've achieved it. And then all those accolades that you mentioned earlier came for me just taking that step and moving forward into that. I think it's been an opportunity, like I said earlier as well, for me to be humbled, but also for me to reflect and look at all of the things that I have and be appreciative of them. So, during the season, it's just, going out there and doing Uber rides, right? Giving people Uber rides and like having the chance to really see people in all walks of life. Some people that you're picking up from maybe areas that are more prosperous, or even people that are not as prosperous. There's many people that I've picked up who I could see what they have on, the clothes that they have on. They may be going to work a minimum wage job, and they're taking an Uber to get dropped off at the MARTA station.
Mm-hmm.
So they're losing money for the Uber, losing money for MARTA just to get to work. So they're starting out already in the negative.
Right.
And I'm at least taking them to work. I always have a car, right?
Yeah.
So like being appreciative in the season as well. It's also brought me closer to the word and what God says. And so one of the things that I really keep near and dear is like, how could I just persevere through this time?
Right.
Like, because you keep putting in the work, keep putting in the hours, something will shake, something will happen. Perseverance will win out.
Yeah.
And so it's something in the word, I think it's in James, it says something like, allow perseverance to be mature and complete, because you will then be lacking nothing. And so we need to see it through. We need to allow perseverance to fully be mature, fully be complete. And it's hard. It's really hard in those in-between seasons. But once you know that, like, it's not mature and complete yet because you're not done, you're still there. I think being gracious on what you have, understanding who you are, being gracious for what you have, knowing that God is not finished with you. If you just keep going after it, keep, getting the reps in, things will change. And then from there, it's getting clarity of what you want to do next. Yeah. Right. And what is that clarity? What is it that you want to do? And so, again, like you mentioned, we've had many conversations on things in business on like, we could do this and we could do that. And like, those things are great. And how can you couple them together to really know, all right, here are the skills that I have that I'm great at. Here's what I'm interested in doing, that I'm interested in moving into this field or into this new, place in life, and then going forward from there. And so I think is having that clarity and defining it is important. And the last thing I would say is, even if you feel like a certain way, that doesn't mean it's going to succeed, but like, that doesn't also mean that it's a failure. You're at least trying something out that interests you. Yeah. And that interest in wanting to try it is a success in itself, because many people have those desires, but don't take any steps to even try it. Yeah. So I think that's important as well.
Absolutely. I love that. And it sounds like maybe there are even some daily habits or practices that you've implemented in this season. And I'm curious, I want to know a little bit about them. But before you answer that, CJ, I want to talk to them, the audience, you guys, about some daily habits, and especially a nightly habit that is going to transform how you sleep. And not just how you sleep, but how you create when you wake up after this break. So stay tuned and listen to this one simple nightly habit that is going to help you to embody all of your brilliance right now. We'll be right back. Did you know that how you sleep makes all the difference of how you wake up, how you work, how you create? And I'm not just talking the time you go to bed, but I mean the type of pillows you sleep on, the shape, the fluff, what it's actually made of. You need to be sleeping on Coop Sleep Goods customizable pillows. I personally sleep on the original adjustable pillow cut out for neck support because I'm a side sleeper, the original maternity adjustable pillow, I'm not pregnant, and the original adjustable body pillow, but because they support my back. Lumbar support is important. But do you know Coop has a new pillow, the orthopedic pillow? It's designed for neck pain relief and cervical support. And this is great if you wake up with crazy neck pain or posture discomfort. It's ergonomic and it provides targeted cervical spinal support to encourage proper alignment and comfort throughout the night. And who doesn't want that? It has customizable spinal alignment. It has 4 adjustable zones with 3 fill chambers and a customizable neck bolster. And this all helps you align your head, your neck, your shoulders, and your spine to help you reduce strain. It supports stability and your breathability, okay? It has memory foam, and I love memory foam. The structure helps you support yourself through the night, so you don't have to reposition yourself and keep rolling over and over all night. And obviously, it's Coop. So there's easy adjustability all around. So everyone can personalize the pillow as you get older or as your needs change.
This makes it an excellent long-term solution for ongoing cervical support and comfort. Can you tell these pillows are designed to solve your sleep problems? Visit coopsleepgoods.com/Dr. Christelle. That's Dr. Christelle for 20% off of your first purchase and get the sleep you need with the pillows you deserve.
So, CJ, what are some of your daily habits that really keep you grounded during ambiguity? And why do I keep saying that? Ambiguity. I'm Jamaican. And sometimes we say things like violent, and the word is violent. Okay. We say things like pomegranate, and the word, and you guys say, what do you, pomegranate? We just say different things. Okay. Let me try that again. So, CJ, what are some of your daily practices and habits that really help to keep you grounded that you've probably implemented or began embodying during this time?
Yeah. The first thing is getting outside. When you're just in the house and at home, it just, I don't know, it just feels like it entraps you with sometimes your thoughts, sometimes, and then your home becomes everything, right? It becomes a place you sleep. It becomes a place you worry. It becomes a place you do work or apply for roles or whatever it is. Like it's your
no
everything.
Longer a safe space.
Right. It's not a safe space, right? And so I think getting outside is very important, whether that's going for walks, runs, whatever. Just getting some fresh air really helps open and clear your mind. Being active, staying fit. During the season, I did the 75 hard challenge. So I really locked in on my eating, praying, reading. I think that was really important for me, just fitness wise overall, to really, that's something that I can control fully, right? Like I can control what I eat. I can control how much I work out. I can control how much I sleep and all of those things. So I really wanted to lock in there as well. I think that's important. Your fitness and how you show up is important. I think, like I mentioned, reading is important too. How are you learning something during this time and during the season? Whether that's in areas of finance or fitness, it could be health, it could be even your mental health, right? Like your mind. How do you keep your mind locked in and steady during this time? Because it can be really challenging. Or reading just certain books to just help you with, like Atomic Habits on your habits and doing certain things. So that's important. Spending time with loved ones is important. Spending time with my daughter is important because you see life in a different lens. You see life in a way that she loves me just because I'm her dad. She doesn't love me because I'm giving her food or, or changing her diaper. She loves me because I'm her dad. Period.
So sweet.
And that alone is very, it's great. It really keeps me together and grounded. And then spending time with loved ones just in general. It could be friends, it could be family. I think that because they love you regardless. And when you feel that love, it goes a long way. And so those are some of the practices that I've done during this time. But fitness, getting outside and being around people that care and love you, I think that's very important.
Yeah. And I love that. And one of the things that in a season where I've been really uncertain and I haven't been able to really know what's coming next, one of the things that I know has helped me as well is I almost feel like the season of quiet helped me to face myself. Sometimes I feel like we run away a lot when things are so busy, and we don't notice it. It's not like we're intentionally running, but when we're resting, when we have no choice but to sit, and in the quiet, we have our thoughts. We're faced with our thoughts and what they're saying. So for me, I'll add to that. For me, what's been really valuable is in seasons of uncertainty, it's being able to heal. Because sometimes I've realized I haven't really paused enough to digest a lot of things that have piled up from years and years of being so busy and being being in go mode, that I've had a chance to heal and, deal with a lot of the things that I haven't had a chance to. So it's almost been like this moment where I get to this is what I've been dealing with, carrying all of this time. So for me, I know I'll add to that. that's actually been a measure of success for me. Like, how well am I healing? Like, how well am I able to add new things? Because when we're carrying so much, we're not able to really put more in our bags. We're not able to put more inside of our territory. I can't add more to what I really want to bring forward with me because I'm dealing or I'm carrying so much. And I want to ask you, CJ, like, how in this moment or when you think of defining the undefined, how do you now in this period measure success? What do KPIs look like for you?
Yeah.
I know you're a math guy.
I'm a math guy.
So I have to ask you a math question.
Right. I think success, how I look at it, can be measured by increments of progress. And as small as it is, right? It doesn't have to, I think one of the things that I love about 75 Hard is you have to do it every day. And one of the things that they have is you have to read 10 pages of a book, just minimum of 10.
Yeah.
And you could have a book that's 1,000 pages. And it's like, oh, this book is so long. I'm never going to get through this. You just do 10.
Yeah.
And then the next day you do 10. The next day you do 10.
Yeah.
The next day you do 10. And you start to see, when you put your bookmark in there, where you are. And it's like, oh, I'm now a quarter of the way through. And I've just been building slowly to these things. It doesn't always mean accomplishing everything you can in that day at that time. That's something I had to sit with. And I'm still sitting with, really, of like, there's so many things that I feel on my plate that I'm still trying to figure out. Oh, I did this and I did that. But I didn't do X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, did you do one thing that helped with that? Did you think about what the next step would be? Did you make that phone call to have that networking?
Yeah.
Did you send that email to network with someone? Okay, you did that. You did make a step.
Yeah.
So success to me is understanding where you are, where you want to go, and making small incremental steps in that direction. Because it's not always the big step. And a lot of the small steps really are what will change or bring that big change. So like, here's a really good example that I saw. It's like, if you're a pilot and you're flying from, here Atlanta to, let's say, New York, where I'm from, right? There's going to be a certain direction that you have to fly. If you move just 2 degrees to the left, 2 degrees to the right, 2 degrees up or down, like you're now, it might not make a big difference at the moment and you could adjust and there's autopilot and things like that. But like, if you continue going in that direction, just 2 degrees or 1 degree, you'll now end up somewhere else. Like, you will not end up where you need to go. Right. And so while small, it's not putting you on that path. And so trying to make those small steps to get to that place is, I think, what I feel like is success.
Wow.
And I think the other thing is, although I said every day, it doesn't have to be every day. It becomes challenging to hold yourself to that standard with whatever it is that you want to accomplish. But as long as in the long run, you're making those steps towards that, I think that's important. So I think that's the biggest thing of success during this time.
I love that. Incremental change,
incremental change. Yeah.
Well, I always love to ask everyone, how are you leveraging, these moments in our career, in our lives to our bigger picture, right? And how do you brand your brilliance, right? But I think we can tell that you're stepping into new territory with this book that you're writing, and you're leveraging this to brand your brilliance through this book you're writing. But, I would love to hear a little bit about that and how you also would encourage others to build on their brilliance in their season.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I feel like in branding my own brilliance, I think are 2 areas. I think there's vulnerability and authenticity. Those are 2 things that I think are important to brand brilliance, right? So when you look at brilliance, we think of brilliance as light, shining. What are those accolades you have? What are those awards that you've won? What are those diamonds you have on your, whether ring or your chain, whatever it is, right? And a diamond only gets to that place through massive amounts of pressure, right? So you have to, I think while that's the end result, let's look at the path through it. And so for me, I've always been a person that I feel at times comfortable with being vulnerable and being my authentic self. I'm still working through it, and there's still things that I would want to be more vulnerable and more authentic about. But I think that largely I'm able to be at that place. And through that, as a leader and as someone that is looking to also help others, I need to let people know where I am. And I'm not always a person that lets people know where I am once I've gotten there. Right. So at one point, I'll tell a story. I did what I called the red shirt challenge. Like I was feeling just not happy with myself and really just in the pits on my weight. And it was the new year, and every year there's this new year. I'm going to lose 10 pounds, 20, whatever it is. Right. And I've always been in that same thing. And this one year I was just like, you know what? I'm just not happy. And I wasn't happy for a couple years, just where I was weight wise. And I didn't want to share like the journey at the end. I wanted to share it where I was that day. So New Year's Day, I posted a picture of me in this red shirt. It's a normal button up red shirt. And then me, when I was able to wear it, and then me that day, how it did not fit. And I said, hey, everybody wants to show their journey on social media, as the best parts, but I'm gonna open up and show you where I am today. And I'm gonna each month I'm gonna share where I am with this red shirt. And the amount of outpouring I got from people, one, wanting to be supportive, two, saying they have their
Me too.
Their shirt or their dress or their whatever that they can't no longer fit in, and like the outward message, but also the silent DMs that I got. Not silent, but the DMs, private messages.
I like bread too, CJ.
Right. Yeah.
Come on now.
So I think but how I brand my brilliance is being vulnerable and authentic to not always like having the successes. Someone DM'd me on LinkedIn at one point, was like, CJ, you've gotten all these different jobs and these great accolades. You've made it look so seamless. Like, how did you do that? And my response was a little flippant, but like, what makes you think it was seamless? In no sense was it seamless. In no sense was it easy. Like I always, every role felt like I was scratching, clawing to try to get there, and it was not. And if I made it seem that way, I don't want it to seem that way. It was not. It was very hard. And so at each point throughout, and even in the middle seasons where you have to, like you said, sit and be silent, or you're trying to figure it out, or you're in this area of being uncomfortable, being uncertain, this undefined area that I'm referring to. How do you define it, and how do you define your brilliance? Being vulnerable and authentic to who you are. Like, and that's what I think I use and I leverage to share. But also I think with those, that's where the full brilliance that we think of really shines, right? You go through those tough times and you go through those seasons of shift, and they really make you that person that you're becoming. And so, like I said, allow perseverance to make you mature and complete, right? A diamond is not complete, or it could be complete, but you want the diamonds that really have that shine, that look, and all of those things. It really needs to go through that time of pressure. And through that, who you become through that. And on the other side, now how you're quote unquote shining and show that brilliance is through how are you vulnerable and authentic in those tough periods? How did you define it in those tough periods? And I think that's what I do the best in showcasing that.
I think so too, CJ. I think you're really great at that.
I
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here, CJ.
Thank you. This was great. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to take that to you all, and I'm going to ask you, where in your life or your career are you hiding because you are uncertain? And what is one step you can take to be more courageous right now to change that? For all of you out there, don't forget to tune in with us on Behind the Creative for more of this conversation, and follow us on the Creative Corporate's platforms so you can learn to design your career and brand your brilliance. We'll see you next time on Behind the Creative. Okay, let me try that again. What are some daily practices, CJ, that keep you grounded during ambiguity? I did it again, didn't I? What's the word? How do y'all say
ambiguity.
it? Ambiguity. This is...
In my mind, it's coming off smooth.
Ambiguity. I said it wrong again? Ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. Ambiguity. Okay. So CJ, I'm going to say a different word. So CJ,